Hey guys, what is up? It's your girl, Grace Tori, and I am back with a whole new podcast episode. I'm excited for today. I have a fun little surprise. If you watched my last episode recently, you might already know this, but there was a story on there that had kind of a cliffhanger, and we have an update for it. So, in honor of that, I thought that we would just keep the theme of weddings going and read that update as well as some fun new wedding stories. It is the first story on my previous podcast episode if you want to go check it out, or I'll give you a quick summary of it when we get into things. But yeah, we're going to be talking about crazy wedding stories that are all on Best of Redditor updates because we like a conclusion, we like an update around here. I'm not just going to give you that with a cliffhanger unless I accidentally do like I did last time, which is a first. So I'd say I have a pretty good track record. So if you like wedding stories, mother-in-law stories, toxic relationship stories, family drama stories, all of the Reddit stories, you're in the right place. Hi, my name's Grace. Welcome to my little corner of the internet. Before I jump in, I do have one thing to say that is pretty quick, but it's probably the most important thing that I will ever ask you to do. It's definitely the most important thing that I'm ever going to ask you to do. Basically, if you do not know, I live in Kentucky, and in the state of Kentucky, an expensive chair, like a good sturdy chair, has more protection from the state than your pets, like your cats and your dogs. I found this out the hard way. I've been grieving my best friend. I do want to say, if you know this, if you signed, if you commented, if you've left me sweet comments, I see them and they make me cry tears of joy for once instead of the eternal sadness that I've had. And I really appreciate it. I just have not responded because I've been really overwhelmed by everything. But all that to say, if you're new here, I'm going to link a petition down below that goes exactly into what laws I would like to implement in the state of Kentucky, as well as exactly what happened. So if you could sign that, literally that's all I'm asking. It would mean the world to me. It's really important that we get to 1,000 signatures. For some reason on change.org's algorithm, that's the magic number. We hit 200 today, so I would really, really appreciate it. It'll take half a second, and it's totally free. If you care about animals at all, if you think I'm kind of cool, this genuinely will be the nicest thing you could ever do for me, ever. And probably animals, if I had to guess. But yeah, I just wanted to say that really quick. Thank you to everyone who's been so supportive and so kind and has reached out. You guys are genuinely so amazing. I did not realize how much support I had, and losing your best friend can feel so lonely and isolating. So to know that you guys are there for me is really sweet. But yeah, I'm not trying to cry. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer because we are talking about weddings today. Before I jump in, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow, hit that hype button if you are on YouTube. But without further ado, let's go read the update to the story that I posted in the last video. I'm Grace Story, and you're listening to That Girl the Podcast. Grab a beverage of choice and settle in, because the new episode is starting now. So, if you need a quick summary, it is called Am I the A-hole for asking my stepbrother to take eggs off the menu at his own wedding? And basically what happened is the stepbrother is getting married, obviously, and the OP is allergic to everything. Seafood and eggs mainly, but she has some chronic illnesses that make her really susceptible to heat issues, as well as can't go all day without eating. She has to be very careful about what she eats. And the stepbrother told her that he was unable to accommodate her and wouldn't let her pay to have accommodations because he felt bad. But then she reached out to her family members, and they actually are accommodating all of her family members. So she reached back out to the stepbrother, and he didn't really have an answer for her. So yeah, she was talking to the fiance in the update, and that is where we left off. But let's go ahead and read that update now. Update 2. Am I the a-hole for asking my stepbrother to take eggs off my menu at his own wedding? I know I said I was going to update y'all after I talked to the fiance, but things got a little hectic with work and stuff, so I forgot. To start off, I did go and talk. I called her and we had an odd conversation. I asked if I could have the substitutions, and she said that she would not be able to do that for me. Pause. I forgot to add in the summary. The bride said that her accommodations were really annoying. OP's accommodations were quote unquote annoying. So yeah. So speculations are maybe the bride thinks that her allergies aren't real and she's just really picky. Maybe the bride doesn't want her there and they hate each other for some reason. That's what we're trying to find out. I do want to say that there's really nothing else that she can eat but cheese and crackers, and with her illness, you really can't sustain on that all day in the heat. It's all outside on the beach. And I mean, I wouldn't be able to sustain on that, and I don't have the same chronic illness that she has. I have different ones, but still, I don't think anybody could. So, sorry, let's get back in. If I missed anything and you guys feel like it's important information, definitely either watch my previous podcast episode, just the first story, if you are like antsy to get back, or comment down below if you watched it and you want to help people out with any information I forgot. Okay, let's jump on in. I told her that I could pay for it myself. She said no. I asked her why, and she said that the accommodation that I wanted was too random. Also, she said, and I quote, I was, quote unquote, strong enough to handle some eggs, whatever that means, and that I could just deal with it myself. I explained to her that there was absolutely nothing at the wedding I could eat other than pickles and artichoke dip, which is not enough sustenance to last me the hot day. She told me to stop complaining and suck it up. How kind of her. I was very taken aback by this because we've been really friendly over the years that I've known her. In fact, I knew her before my brother and her got together because she was a part of my husband's friend group and still is. I was the one who actually set her and my brother up, which is another reason why I offered to help with their wedding. Girl, that's great. Like, she introduced them. Okay, the plot thickens. I called my brother again and asked him what the heck was going on because I had a very odd and somewhat disrespectful conversation with his fiance. He made up an excuse saying everyone is stressed and that wedding planning is stressful, which it is 100% true, and things got blown out of proportion. But I still can't figure out why I was the only person who got a different answer. On Monday, I finally just took all of your advice and sent my brother a message where I said I would bring my own food, and if that was a problem, I wouldn't come. As much as I love him, I love my health and respect that a little bit more. Left me on open for about 6 hours, then wrote back, that's fine, just don't make it too noticeable, please. And that was the last I heard of him for a bit. Some people were saying, like, why are you making a big deal? You should just bring your own food. And, like, yeah, I understand that. If you have a lot of health problems, you kind of get used to it. But it's also so annoying that she's literally helping plan the wedding, and they can't accommodate her by giving her, like, not even, like, a side. Or, like, something that is sustainable, like vegetables or something that she can eat and actually, like, make it through the day. And saying, like, don't make it too noticeable, like, as if to say, like, oh, your health issues are embarrassing, like, we don't want anybody to know. Like, please calm down. Like, what's embarrassing is the way that your fiance is acting, and by extension you, because it's your wedding too. Okay, we're gonna keep reading. But on Friday after work, I went out with one of my best friends who is in the same group as my husband and the fiance, but I've been friends with her for a long time. Basically, me, her, and her sister were childhood friends, but she only met my husband and that friend group in college. Anyways, she told me that the fiance and my husband had a very minor talking stage relationship sort of thing during college, but that ended as fast as it started. My friend, being her gossipy self, said that she thinks my brother's fiance might still be in love with my husband. Oh? Dun, dun, dun. I didn't think that was true till I was jokingly telling my husband about what our friend said, and my husband said that he believes that could be a possibility. What? So I asked to take a look at their private messages, and well, she is messaging him almost every day. Despite them being in the same friend group, he isn't insanely close with her. So these messages are him either having casual, polite conversations, short conversation about shared plans or interests, or him ignoring her. I didn't go all the way back, but from what I can see, there's nothing weird going on. I trust my husband with my whole heart and believe he is loyal. From this point on, I'm not really sure what to do. There's no real proof that my friend's intuition is what's actually going on, and I truly believe the situation to be one big misunderstanding. I don't even care about the food. I'll bring my own. Anyways, let me know what I should do now. I've basically given up. Edit, I think I confused everyone with how my brother and his fiance met. So first of all, ignore the wording of my post in general. I introduced them because I invited my brother to a get-together that me and my husband were having. I didn't introduce them with the intent of them ending up together because there is an age gap. But at that gathering, they started as gym buddies and worked their way to getting married soon. I didn't mention the fact that I introduced them because that wasn't important at the time. Okay. Top comment is why go at all at this point? These people don't seem nice. And I agree, like, I talked about this in the last one, but it's like, if you're not appreciated by the people getting married, why go? because it is expensive to go to a wedding. Like, weddings are so fun. It's a party, but like, if they don't like you, why are you spending money on a present for them and probably clothes, and you're taking PTO and you're driving if it's a destination wedding? You're literally helping them plan the wedding. And like, it doesn't sound like she likes you. It sounds like she tolerates you because she knows if she were to like outwardly hate you, she would lose not only her fiance, maybe, he kind of seems like a pushover, but she would definitely lose your husband, I feel like. When you're an adult, I feel like it's not as weird to text someone of the opposite gender one-on-one. It's kind of weird when there's not really like a reason for it to text them every single day. Like, my boyfriend is my best friend. Like, I tell him things, like we have conversations all day, every day. I don't really, I don't have a guy friend like that where I text him every single day. And even when I've had like really close friends, like guy friends that I was best friends with, um, when I got into a relationship or they got into a relationship, we still texted, but it wasn't every single day because like those conversations, like that best friend closeness, kind of transferred over to our partners. Not to say that there's anything wrong with having a best friend. Like, I miss some of my guy best friends 100%. We just grew apart. But it's not like there was anything weird going on. I do want to say, like, I don't know. It's kind of weird that she's texting him every day and he's not responding. Like, that's why I'm like, why is she not like getting the hint? Because clearly they're not that close. So it's like, he's not doing anything wrong, but it's a little sus on her end. Because like, why are you so desperately texting this man every day about nothing like important if he's just like shrugging it off? I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on the update though? It definitely, I think that the fiance is definitely in love with the husband, and she probably only started dating the brother so that she could get close with the husband, but then she got comfortable and the sweetie stepbrother just ended up like proposing and everything, and she just went along with it because she was comfortable. That's like my kind of out there theory, but I think she's definitely in love with the husband regardless. Am I the a-hole for saying no when my sister-in-law asked for my husband's nieces and nephews to put on a performance at our wedding? Original post is from March 18th, 2026. My husband and I are having our ceremony later in the year. My sister-in-law has asked my husband if his nieces and nephews can put on a performance at our wedding. I personally feel like with the way our wedding is planned, having them do some type of performance just doesn't fit in at any point. It's not a traditional wedding, and we have changed a lot about the way the ceremony will be performed. Another point is that these are all children. They are all under 10 years old. I feel like this will come across as more talent showy, and I just can't see it happening in any way that's fitting for a wedding. I was also shocked that she'd asked for something like that. She's never asked about our wedding plans. My husband asked for my thoughts privately, and I immediately said no. I expressed that due to his family's history with him, I would not be accommodating to them probably ever. They have a history of taking advantage of my husband's kindness, especially when it comes to his nieces and nephews. I've been very clear about my boundaries from the beginning. He understands and respects it. He also began drawing his own boundaries, and I'm so proud of him for that. I'm admittedly very guarded, but my immediate gut feeling was that she was asking for this for selfish reasons. I'm not sure why, but this request doesn't sit right with me, especially with her lack of interest in our entire wedding. She probably wants to make it about herself and her kids. She's like, this isn't interesting to me unless it has something to do with me directly, so I'm going to make it about me. But we're going to keep reading. Just initial thoughts going. My husband sees it differently. He thinks it was an innocent request. I'm seeing the overall picture, but he's just considering the request, so it may seem innocent. I would have been fine with it if my husband wanted it, or even the kids did. I've asked my best friend, 2 cousins, and my cousin's girlfriend. They all said it was a weird request. However, they might be biased. I just need some outside perspective. Am I the a-hole for saying no? And there is an edit for further context. I tried not to include too many details as the people involved use Reddit, but F it. She asked for them to perform a dance. They aren't dancers. I asked my husband if they could, and he said they're like 4 out of 10. This furthered my bewilderment. I don't dictate his boundaries, I just make mine clear. My in-laws are complicated. I've watched them use and take my husband for granted for years. I'll start with his parents. They're racist. They had a terrible reaction when he showed them my photo. They've also used him to support the entire household while allowing his brother to treat him verbally really badly. He's cut that off and doesn't interact with his brother, who is also racist. His sister, the one who asked, used him as an on-call babysitter for years. My husband would work his 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, only for his sister to drop her kids off on a Friday night and expect him to babysit until whenever. I listened to him vent about this until I sat him down and explained that he was allowing it. He's since cut out that completely and only helps his mom with the kids now and then. She also knowingly made terrible choices in who she procreated with, so she has no help from the father. That is an entire story on its own. My husband has been very open about wanting to cut down contact with his family and not have them too involved in our lives once we close on our home. I would never dictate how he should interact with them. We've both been clear about managing our own families, and he's been very, very open about not tolerating their BS. It's a huge shift from what they're accustomed to, and it's been almost 2 years since he made that change. And there's another edit that says a couple of the You're the A-hole voters have taken to DMs to message me hateful, vile things. To those people, seek help. Therapy works wonders. Yeah, guys, don't do that. Don't be mean. We don't need to do that. My husband and I plan to update when we can, as he is also perplexed by this request and does not want this at all. He's going to talk to her and let her know he doesn't want it. He's never wanted it, and he's just as baffled by this as I was. So, I can see both sides, like wanting the kids to be included, but at the end of the day, it is your wedding, and you're not very close with these people. Because my thing is, if you were close with them, they could have been like the flower girl, the ring bearer, had their moment. It would have been cute. Maybe she's upset that they're not the flower girl and the ring bearer. I'm guessing based on how close you guys are. And she wants them to still have their moment. Also, the fact that you're not having a kid-free wedding is honestly really nice. A lot of people have kid-free weddings these days. So the fact they're invited at all says a lot. And they're still going to dance at the reception. Like, they're still going to dance on the dance floor with everybody else, and like they can have their moment. I feel like as a little kid, I only went to a few weddings where I was like a flower girl, and dancing on the dance floor, like I had main character syndrome. Like, it was my time to shine. Like, I was having my Hannah Montana, Lizzie McGuire in Rome. Like, that was my moment, regardless of who was watching, because like my mom was taking pictures and like it was cute, right? So to a little kid, I feel like it doesn't really matter. Like, they don't need their moment, and they can have their moment in other ways, which is what makes me think this is about the sister wanting it to be about her. But I may be biased because I know what it's like to be around toxic family and have to make tough decisions where people who typically are like, yeah, it's my family, anything for you. Like, yeah, but you have to consider that your family is awesome, and not all of us have awesome family. So if they treat you poorly, the fact they're even invited to the wedding is kind of crazy. A relevant comment is, are you doing a family brunch the day after? Offer to have them do it then, just not part of the wedding. And OOP said, we are doing a family get together after. I did say I wouldn't mind it then, but he hasn't mentioned it to her. Okay. I mean, I like the idea of that, or depending on how formal, maybe like a rehearsal dinner. I know like my sister's was pretty informal, so that would have been fun if any of us had kids. It just depends on the vibes. But again, like if you're not comfortable with that, it's ultimately his family. So while it's both of your weddings, I would kind of let him make like 60-40 decision on that. But they're obviously not great people, so I would just say no. There's some more comments where OP is just talking about how she wants to go no contact, but there's some stressful things going on that don't allow that, and he kind of just goes along and like says okay and doesn't really push back. So yeah, let's read the update from 3 months later. A few people have since asked for me to update. Here are the final developments. I did show this post to my husband. I'll be calling the problematic sister PS. My husband, we're legally married but decided on having our ceremony and reception later in the year due to my mom undergoing chemo and radiation therapy for a rare type of cancer. I'm so sorry. My mom had to go through chemo and radiation, and almost passed. She's okay now. She just hit her 10-year cancer-free in April. But it is it's so hard, especially for close with a parent. So I really I'm praying for you, all the good vibes. I hope that she pulls through and you just get to look on it years later and Talk about how you survived something so hard and it made you so strong, even though it doesn't feel like that right now. But let's get back to the story. My husband sat down with his nieces and nephews and asked them directly if they were interested in doing a dance. They all said no. The oldest one actually said, "That would be so cringe." He asked if any of them had asked to do a dance or any type of performance at the wedding. They all said no, again. Knowing this, my husband felt comfortable saying no as the kids didn't even want this. He broached the topic with PS in the car so it could be discussed privately. He said, "Hey, about the dance, I've decided on no." PS started raising her voice, asking him why. He said he just didn't want it. She flipped out and started shouting at him. She accused him of not loving her or her kids anymore. He asked her why would she think that. She said because he won't babysit for her and it's hindering her life. My husband just asked if PS didn't think that it was hindering our lives having to be her on-call babysitter and that he had no part in making her kids. PS screamed at him that he was selfish for not allowing them to do a dance and that not everything is about us. Oh my God. Hey, your wedding is actually not about you. Just so you know. This isn't about you. This is about me and my kids. Just thought you should know. That is insane. I called it though, but we're going to keep reading. Not everything is about us on our wedding day. She also accused him of playing favorites with regards to me and her kids. She has obviously lost the plot. He told PS that he knew the kids didn't even want to do anything like that this was all about her and her need for attention. He also asked her how he could be playing favorites because I'm literally his wife. She was full on screaming, frothing at the mouth, raging at him about how he was ruining her life, that he was selfish and a terrible uncle. He just told her to pull over and he got out of the car. He took an Uber back to his cousin's house and ended up telling his parents what happened with PS. His parents instantly started reasoning with him to make peace with his sister because, quote unquote, she's just like that. Oh, guys, it's my least favorite excuse. You've heard me say it. That is the worst thing you can say. She's just like that. Well, yeah, she's like that because you let her be like that instead of telling her she's literally insane. Ugh. He just said no and he walked away from them. When he told me what happened, I was stunned because WTAF is she on? I adore his nieces and nephews, but his sister is effing unhinged. She blocked me on WhatsApp like I even care. She also deleted his contact, but didn't block him so he wouldn't see her profile picture or statuses. She then made sure he overheard her saying this to a cousin. This woman is 40 years old. It's so embarrassing. My husband at that point fully saw the situation from my perspective. This was never an innocent ask. She eventually calmed down, unblocked us, and tried to start communicating with us again. We were gray rocking her. Our wedding day came and it was perfect. His other sister was so happy for us and she complimented everything. She was very impressed with how well done and well thought out our wedding was. She thanked me for getting toys, books, and having an activity area for all the kids. Wait, pause. That's so good. So no one does that when it comes to weddings. I've never heard of that. So the fact that you did that is so nice and considerate. Love that for you and for the children, and that's so fun. Very considerate. She said she knew it was a woman's touch. That was a really nice moment. PS was extremely reserved most of the day. She did not speak to us at all, but she proceeded to wail like a banshee during the ceremony. She even went to the washroom in the middle of it because she was so overwhelmed by her emotions. We literally did not pay her any mind. We couldn't see anything else but each other in that moment. She was still trying to make it, she was trying everything she could to make this about her and to steal your moment. The kids were very happy. They danced with everyone and no one else paid any mind to PS. His parents seemed very happy for us and his father spoke to me privately and said he knows I make his son happy and that's all he wants. His mother was also reserved, but she was exceedingly happy to go show off pictures because our wedding lived up to her standards, I guess. We are going to be gray rocking PS without sacrificing the nieces and nephews. We really do love them and care for them. That's so sweet. OP does respond to a ton of comments. I'm not going to read all of them so that we have enough time to get into all of the stories, but I will leave everything linked down below so that you can check them out. I'm so glad that this had a happy ending and you didn't let her ruin the day. That can be so tricky when you have toxic family that is so intent on ruining the day. But the fact she didn't ruin it and you also mentally and emotionally weren't anxious about it. She didn't ruin it in that way. You were truly able to have a good time. I'm so happy for you. Yeah, no notes, 10 out of 10. Would I be the a-hole if I dropped out as a bridesmaid a week before the wedding because of what happened at the bachelorette? Original post is June 21st, 2026. So I'm a bridesmaid in my friend's wedding. She just had a bachelorette party at the groom's family's cabin for 2 nights. It started off okay, but as the attendants got more and more drunk, the racism and anti-Semitism started coming out. For context, everyone else in the wedding party is white. I am mixed Jewish and Asian, and Irish, but that's really not relevant to this post. My part of the party was to put on a tea party in the afternoon. I spent weeks hand decorating a tea set as a wedding present. Weddings are huge in my culture, and I wanted to share that joy. I bought and cooked a bunch of my cultural food, but the basic stuff even Western food people would like, lumpia, baked desserts, and skyflakes with cheese and meat. I of course checked with the bride and maid of honor beforehand, and both said that it would be okay, with the bride saying she actually loved lumpia. Did I pronounce that correctly? I'm so sorry if I didn't. I've never seen that before. So I don't, But I would like to try it. I'm always down to try cultural food. As a tourist and a foodie, I'm down to try anything when it comes to cultural stuff. So, sorry if I mispronounced it. If I did, feel free to kindly correct me in the comments. As long as you're respectful and kind, I am open to any criticism. I love a good debate. Just don't be a jerk about it. Okay? Cool. Let's keep reading. I was so proud of it, and it looked beautiful all set up. But immediately, some of the bridal party started making the ew, ethnic food faces. People of color, if you know, you know. One of them chased around another with a sweet bun, laughing about how weird and scary it was. It was literally bread and cream. Sweet buns are so good. Please, what are people doing? I sent pictures of my setup to other friends to see if it was something I did wrong, and everyone said it looked amazing. Edit, because I really need to be precise. People did say thank you, including the bride. They said the setup was very pretty. It was the reaction to the food by some of them, family of the groom, who also made the Auschwitz jokes. That is so bad. I'm so sorry. That I was describing. That's even worse. Like, it's like to bless your heart when people are horrible behind your back and nice to your face. Like, so horrible. That is, ugh. That, like, makes me sick to my stomach to read. All right, we're gonna keep reading. That being said, almost nobody spoke during the tea party portion and blamed it on being tired. The bride and friends did not say anything about the reactions of the other girls. The main feedback I got is that I was clearly a witch because my tea put everyone to sleep. It was a hibiscus, rose, mint, and calamansi mix. Again, pronunciation is not my strong suit. Sorry. But oh well, maybe that food isn't for them. I moved on. But then the racist jokes started. The party started on Juneteenth. You can imagine the jokes, quote unquote, that came out of that. Then anti-Semitic jokes about Holocaust camps and more. That's like, I don't even like talking about this stuff on my channel because that's so dark and so wrong. Like, guys, if you are making these types of jokes, stop. I know that people can be conditioned to think that it's okay. I grew up in the Bible Belt, so I know a lot of people that are not inherently bad people. They just don't understand the gravity of the shit that they're saying. Not that I'm defending them, but it's like, I have seen people who grew up like that. But once someone tells you it's wrong, read the fucking room. Like, this is not okay. So if you're doing this and you didn't realize it, or like you're in a culture where like it's normalized, stop. You're desensitized. You should care. Like, this is a horrific thing that happened in history, and a horrific stain on history in general, and like all countries, cultures. It was a world war, so it's really impactful to everyone, and making silly little jokes about it, it's not okay. Like, it's just gross. You're just really lame and gross. Okay. Let's keep reading. This is a direct quote. I say a lot of Nazi and Holocaust jokes for someone who isn't racist. If you're listening, I'm like, my jaw just dropped. I'm speechless. I was trapped on a boat with them when this started happening. I would feel so uncomfortable. Like, I am Jewish. I'm not like practicing, but my family, like a couple generations back, practicing, very much Jewish. I had a family member who actually escaped from the Holocaust and came here to be free. So I don't like identify as Jewish, so I feel wrong, like being offended But also, like, if you're not offended and uncomfortable about this as a human being, like, you should just have basic empathy and be very uncomfortable with this. Okay? Like, whether you identify or not, this is gross. I need to get off my soapbox, but also, like, I just keep feeling like I need to say it. But, okay. Whenever I talk about a controversial topic like this, I feel like there is no world where it's okay to be racist or anti-Semitic, right? Cool. There's always people in the comments that, like, catch one thing I say, because I have ADHD, so I stumble. Sometimes I say something when I mean another thing. It's just my brain working in overdrive. And people will cling on to, like, one thing I say, and then they'll absolutely roast me, like, 2 bits. So that's why I try not to say anything controversial. I feel pretty confident saying that, like, this is horrible. Obviously, like, I will say that with my whole chest. I'm just so scared someone's going to twist my words and be like, well, you actually said this, and if you decode it, it means that. So my stance is, this is terrible. This is horrible. I feel like that's not a hot take. I feel like we all can agree that this is disgusting. Don't misconstrue that as anything else just because I stutter and I'm, like, bad with words and my ADHD is on overdrive. I don't think I've said anything that could be misconstrued, but someone always takes something the wrong way. So, let's keep going. Also, I'm just gonna call the place that all this happened A, because I just don't, like, even saying it gives me a sense of dread, and I don't want to take away from the seriousness of it, but it's just, like, so dark. Like, yeah, so that's what I'm gonna call it. I'm just gonna call it A. I was trapped on a boat with them when this started happening. Later that night, as I was grabbing something from a room to then leave, the main perpetrator said to someone I considered a close friend, I was worried you'd be offended by the A jokes because you're German. That friend replied she wasn't offended. I spoke up, well, I might be offended because I'm Jewish. I got up to leave with my stuff, and then the girl said she's going back to A. Like, exclamation point, like, funny joke, hee hee ha ha. Not hee hee ha ha, guys. My friend, the bride, everyone laughed. I went outside and I cried. They saw me from the window when they all came to eat food. Not a single one of my friends came to check on me. The vibes continued along that line, and I felt like I was in the Jewish Asian version of Get Out, stuck in a giant home with a bunch of racist white people. But honestly, the fear from it wasn't the worst part. It was that not a single one of my friends said anything. I then was in a 4-hour car ride with one of the said friends / bridesmaids on the way home. She spent the last hour of it lecturing me about how she's someone who can be cordial around people she doesn't agree with, but not everyone has that skill, especially when it's personal, and that, quote unquote, I need to put myself in other people's shoes and see that they have positive intentions and more. Girl, how is that a positive intention? Like, it's not funny. It's so rude. It's so disrespectful. It's just disgusting. And not her giving you a lecture. She should be lecturing the other people. Like, we've lost the plot. This has gone so far from where it should be. For context, this cabin was 4 hours away, and I have a pretty moderate disability. I was using 110% of my energy for this and had no energy left by the end of it. I pushed myself to extremes for these friends and the bride, and it was reciprocated with laughing at anti-Semitic jokes at my expense. The wedding is next weekend. I can barely see from the migraine I have, and my legs are struggling with walking. I don't feel it's worth it to hurt myself for someone who couldn't bother to stand up for me or even check on me after. All my friends of color agree with me, but this was my high school friend group. I grew up in a very white town, and I also feel very guilty, like I'm letting them down. I'm not quite sure what to do, so Reddit, please help me out. Edit, I was a history major, which makes this whole thing even worse, so I have to add context that I didn't realize I missed until the comments. 1. My friend in the car is the friend who said she wasn't offended by the bad jokes. To the person, she was asked by the jokester because she's German and lives in Germany. In the car, she did say that she is absolutely against the concentration camp joke and that she feels guilty. She didn't say anything. The words "I'm sorry" never came out of her mouth, though, and then I brought up the other stuff with the food and racist comments, and that's when she went on that tangent. She also said she saw the racism, but told me in those situations you just have to ignore it and choose to not be around those people again. As she knew there was racism happening, including towards me, and didn't say anything or check in on me, I will be choosing not to be around her again. I also told her repeatedly that I didn't want to talk about this now because I was so physically done, and she said, "This is my car and I am driving. I don't want to be uncomfortable and have this tension here. We are talking." I have a vocal cord disorder and my speaking is limited, so I didn't say much, and I didn't want to get dropped off on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. I told her she crossed a boundary she can't come back from, though. The people making the racist jokes were the siblings/cousins of the groom. My friends were the ones laughing along and not saying anything. The friend in the car with me was in a social justice club with me in high school. There was not signs of this behavior before from either this friend or the bride. In fact, the bride went with me to an anti-ICE fundraiser party earlier this year, and we had a lot of fun. I've never been shy with my opinions, especially as someone who studied history. This was the first time I was hanging with them around a bunch of other people. In reviewing these comments, I have realized that they may have not been racist with me before, but it didn't stop them from saying anything about racism when it happened, which is in fact racism. That is a key difference. I'm also more white than not. I am ethnically Jewish, but not religiously. I often don't feel like I have a right to be upset about these things because other family have gone through worse. That's something I'm working to unlearn, and this was definitely some exposure therapy to that. Why didn't I say anything at the party? Because I was in the middle of nowhere surrounded by drunk people making racist comments at me. I've survived violence before and know that sometimes keeping your mouth shut is what needs to happen until you're in a safe space. Lastly, I will not be going to the wedding. I need to get off screens because my head is killing me, but your comments and support help settle me emotionally. I will decide tomorrow how I will inform the bride. So, as someone who went to an all-white high school, pretty much only went to Christian all-white schools growing up, you are taught that, like, love everybody and racism is bad. But it's one thing to teach it, and it's one thing to be out in the real world, be, like, around other races, be around racism in general. Like, you are literally in a bubble, and it's like, yeah, everybody has good intentions, and we all love Jesus, and we're all gonna pray. But then, like, when you get, like, literally airdropped into the real world, you have to make decisions that you never had to make before. Like, you didn't have to stand up to racism because you were never around it. I am white passing, but I am Spanish. Like, my grandparents immigrated here. My dad's first language is Spanish. Like, I am Spanish. And even that was, like, rough. One thing that really stuck with me is my dad went on a lot of business trips, and someone used to say, like, oh, your dad's never home because he has to take up extra shifts at Taco Bell. And it's like, things like that, that it's like, what the hell? Like, that's not funny. And I really don't want to make this about me. It's just like, I understand being in the bubble of, like, yeah, we were in an all-white town, and it's like everybody said racism was bad, but you didn't have to do anything about it because no one was of any other race. And that in itself should be a red flag. But when there's no one of that race in this, like, town or school or whatever, a lot of times people feel uncomfortable that are of a different race coming to that school. So unless you make a huge initiative where, like, you really want to make the DEI, like, bigger, and you bring a big bunch of people in, it probably won't happen. Like, we had people of different races come, and then, like, they would just come for a year. So yeah, I think that the whole, like, they didn't say anything about the racism, like, they didn't contribute to it, but they didn't stand up for you either, is very much a common thing in these all white or schools or towns, because it's like people, yeah, like, you, yeah, it's just, no, like, people think that they live in this bubble where, like, nothing bad ever happens, and, like, racism is so far away, and then it happens and it's like, oh, I don't want to ruffle any feathers. Like, yeah, you talk a big game until you're literally in that situation, and then you won't stand up for people. Like, you can say that you're not racist all day long, but then the second that racism happens, you don't do anything about it because you talk a big game that you don't live up to. So yeah, that's kind of my point of view on that as someone who literally grew up in that environment. It's tough because it's like, a lot of times these people have good intentions. They aren't racist in the way that they, like, think. Like, they don't actively participate, but they also don't stand up for you either. And that's where it's like, you have to educate them, but then it's also not your, like, burden to educate anyone on your race. Like, they should just stand up for you because it's the morally correct thing to do. So yeah, it sucks. Like, obviously the correct thing to do would be for more races to be my ADHD is so bad. I'm trying to think of the word. More races to be like intertwined, like assimilated. Is that the word? So sorry if that's not the word. Like the community should be, thriving with DEI. But that would require people to stop acting like this. And if they're going to act like this, then they're going to hopefully end up with like no friends, and then they'll die off, and then people who are kind and actually care about other people and are decent human beings will just take their place. One would hope. Let's keep reading. There is an update from 2 days later. I made both hot and iced tea. It was a hibiscus, rose mint, and calamansi mix. The bride's favorite color is pink, so I tried to stick with the theme. I brought all the food except the cheese, meat, veggies, and hummus. I don't want to take credit for what I didn't do. And yes, I did forget a dipping sauce for the lumpia. Edit, my updated post was removed, so here it is. One of the comments in my last post asked as a joke, "Is this because you forgot the dipping sauce?" And yes, I did, and my Lola is screaming from above. It is funny. Also, I must clarify, I'm very lucky to live in a much more diverse place now with a Filipino market less than a mile away. I bought frozen lumpia and pre-made baked goods, encimadas, mango buns, and these little panda pudding cakes alongside ubi sugar sticks and sky flakes. This cooking was frying the lumpia and setting up all the plates, so I can't claim to have made it from scratch. The cheese and meat with the sky flakes was generously donated from leftovers from the night before. Girl, you're making me hungry. It sounds so good, and I haven't had dinner yet. You're making me hungry. I spent all my time hand decorating the tea set. I wish I could have attached a picture of the setup as I was, and I'm still very proud of it. I will make a separate post on my page with a picture of the tea party setup. So yes, all the people commenting this must be fake, because no one could really be that egregious. I wish it was fake, but welcome to the rural Midwest. One of the comments on my post said I wasn't looking for advice, but validation. That was partially correct. Getting told I'm the problem for an hour on the car ride home by someone I've known for 10 years and who organized political campaigns with me in high school effed me up. I felt crazy, and when I got home, I made this post to try and see if I was being overly sensitive. I appreciated all the responses because it helped me realize I wasn't being dramatic or sensitive. I was having a valid reaction to being told I was leaving to go to the concentration camp my ancestral people were genocided in, and my friends laughing along and saying nothing to me. For the real update, I sent this message to the bride. Hi, bride. I've thought long and hard about how to say this. I will not be attending your wedding. I could have said it's because I'm sick, which isn't untrue. I spent last night with a migraine so bad I couldn't stop vomiting. But that wouldn't be the full truth, and as I considered you a near and dear friend, I owe you the truth. The truth is, I was subjected to hatred and bigotry this weekend, and nobody said anything or checked on me. I pushed my body past the limit for this, spent weeks hand decorating your tea set because I care so much for you. To see that reciprocated with laughter, and when I was told to go back to A, devastated me. That entire weekend felt like I was in a Jewish Asian version of a Jordan Peele movie. I pored over this decision. I even made a Reddit post because I couldn't tell if I was feeling right or if I just needed to suck it up. The comments helped me stand true to my feelings. I have simply reached a point in my life where my boundaries are clear and the line has been crossed. I will not harm myself and my body for a group of people that laughed as I was harmed. I still truly wish you the best. You can see the post here. Link to post. That is such a classy, elegant, kind response. That is 10s across the board. Like, you could have been way meaner and, like, it be justified. I did not get a response. She has since blocked me on Instagram. Likely on phone, too, but I haven't texted again to check. Her just blocking me without saying anything hurt the most, especially as I was putting so much effort and pushing my body so far out of love for her. I invited her into my community organizing space earlier this year, thinking she was an ally. But at least I know now where she stands when it comes to the Holocaust and everything else. I simply just need to grieve now. Maybe she blocked you because she was embarrassed. Like, I would be embarrassed if I got this. Because, like you said, like, she wasn't actively participating, but she didn't do anything to stop it. So, maybe she was... I don't want to make excuses for her, but hopefully it was like, I'm embarrassed about this, and she reflects on it, and she does better moving forward. But based on the people she's keeping in her life, I wouldn't count on it. To the wedding group chat, I sent this. I thought a lot about what if to say, but I don't think there's anything I can say that the comments didn't, and then sent the link to the post. I then left the group chat. I've been blocked by both the bride and maid of honor. Carframe was blocked by me on both WhatsApp and Instagram, but did not block me first. At least on Instagram. No idea for WhatsApp. It all feels like I'm back at my 95% white high school. The racism, the bullying, the blocking, all of it. I've grown out of that, and I'm glad to have found many new friends in my current community who are there to support me amongst all of this. If you're reading this, appreciate your chit chat, especially my plant gremlins. I almost didn't make an update, but a friend told me the Reddit gremlins must be fed and asked why I feel I owe the wedding party the comfort of leaving it alone when they made me so uncomfortable for days because of my ethnicities. Fair enough, I learned the ASL sign petty B word before this weekend for a reason. Two of the other bridesmaids that were friends of the bride and didn't know anyone else at the party reached out to me individually to apologize for not saying anything, that they didn't see it target me specifically, and that they respected my decision. If you're reading this, thank you. I let them know I appreciated them reaching out and that I understood why they wouldn't say anything in a house full of strangers in the middle of nowhere. It shouldn't be on them to stand up for a stranger when the people in charge of the bachelorette are supposed to be my friends. To be entirely honest, the spring group has been dying for months, if not longer, with only the wedding really keeping it together. At least they gave me a clean cut. I'll be enjoying my next weekend of rest. And if any of you in the wedding are reading this post, thinking I'm an a-hole for making it public, maybe you're right. But if you know it's bad to be seen publicly, why would you say that or laugh at it in private? And over 1,500 people commented you were racist, so they're probably right too. Edit, I forgot to mention something I'd remembered about car friend. In the car, she said, I didn't know you were Jewish. As if she needs to know I'm Jewish for it to be wrong. Yet the day before, when someone made a joke about the food being kosher, and whether it was kosher or halal for Jewish people, and I said it was kosher, that friend told the group she would know because she's Jewish. So the group and this friend did in fact know I was Jewish before making and or laughing at the big jokes. And I was straight up gaslit. Just needed to add this because F that. Final comment, it's so weird when people get upset when their actions have consequences. It's like they must be used to living in a society that gives them the benefit of the doubt or something. Enjoy your weekend off, OP. And OP has a really good response to end this on. She says, that's exactly it. I'm intolerant for not tolerating racism, but their intolerance of ethnic food and Jewish people is something that needs to be tolerated. These people confuse me, to be honest. And that's true. Like, it's not that hard. Like, if you see something, say something. If you see things that are racist, it doesn't matter if someone of that race is in the room. It doesn't matter if they are, kind of jokes or like they're funny. If you think they're funny, that's a whole other thing. It doesn't matter if it's racist, and even if you're on the fence, it's better to say something like, hey, what did you mean by that, than not. So yeah, I would love to know your thoughts on all three of these stories. If you're on a platform where you can comment down below. Don't forget to check out that petition if you have a second. It's so important, like the most important thing, and would mean the absolute world to me. Let's get this to 1,000 signatures. I love you guys so much. I will catch you on the next episode. Hopefully my camera will be fixed and it will be sooner rather than later, but if not, I'll catch you guys on Sunday. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Love you. Bye.